what makes it possible for musicians and composers to work with complex musical ideas. A language that's specific to music and common among all instruments and players. So imagine music without it. It'd be difficult to express anything very complex. In many ways, today's multimedia content is like music before it had the foundation of its own language.
I'm not impressed. I'm not excited. I'm not engaged.
It's been, I think, very boring for a lot of creative people I know and have talked to. They say that's all you can do?
There's a whole range of consumer-driven issues that I don't think the industry has yet begun to focus on. Not through any fault of theirs, they really haven't had the flexible set of tools yet with which to do so.
In today's multimedia, developers are struggling to compose more compelling content, and they're faced with a multitude of incompatible languages, authoring tools, and architectures.
With multimedia, we're going through a very profound shift where instead of technology driving it, the customer is going to drive it. The customer is going to demand new content. So Kaleida's singular vision is to make it possible for developers of that content to go beyond what they've gone before, to do it better, to control their costs while they do it, to create it once and distribute it anywhere. The Kaleida platform is really quite simple. It consists of three main parts. The Kaleida Media Player is really the heart of the system. It represents a complete target platform for developers, so they'll only have to learn one platform, not many. Now, you write applications for the Kaleida Media Player with the ScriptX programming language. It's a complete object-oriented dynamic language designed specifically for multimedia. And the other thing you use is the ScriptX class library. And it's a set of 250 pre-programmed elements that are kind of like an application waiting to be assembled in different and interesting ways. To come in the future are application development and authoring tools that will provide access to our platform for non-programmers. Now here's the way your application gets to be cross-platform. Once it's completed for the Kaleida Media Player, it'll run wherever a Kaleida Media Player is. Today, that's personal computer platforms. In the future, interactive TV and game platforms. You write the title once, distribute it anywhere. When you're doing something completely new, it kind of helps to have the resources of Apple and IBM behind you.
What makes the whole Kaleida set of technologies, from the language ScriptX to the Kaleida Media Player, exciting for developers and worthwhile looking at is that they incorporate object technology in a very interesting and real way. What that means to the developer is that they will be able to repurpose content they already have into new titles or new applications. They will be able to do development at the outset, initially in a very efficient way. They'll be able to do, I think, titles and create applications which really are virtually impossible procedurally using procedural codes. If not impossible, there's so much trouble and so difficult that you don't see them develop.
We think that IBM and Apple together can play a key role here in fostering a portability standard for multimedia, in bringing rapid development capability because we have an object-oriented base in ScriptX. And we think that we can fundamentally accelerate the adoption of multimedia across a broad range of uses, not just in small niches of specialized multimedia, but in general business. That expands the market.
In creating the Kaleida platform, we were given a unique opportunity. We got to start with a clean slate. We got to work with the most innovative title developers and the best technologists in the business.
What excites us a great deal about the Kaleida capability is the flexibility we think it will give a number of authors with potentially completely different styles to allow those styles to show through to work technically, regardless of platform and regardless of what element of style they seem to have focused on.
I believe for the first time, we have an opportunity to put in front of the user an experience which is not pre-thought out, predefined, and predestined.
It is building a foundation of classes, of containers, of ways in which metaphors can be created that will get increasingly powerful. So although the start seems rather slow, the foundation is absolutely the one that has to be laid. Imagine a house. I mean, the old biblical story of, the house built on the sand and the house built on the rock. This thing is built on a rock.
You could spend a lot more time coming up with new titles, which is what we want to do, because that way we make a lot of money and we can all retire and move to Maui.
One of the big problems in multimedia today is to get synchronization. I said synchronization. The ability to have a precise timeline for the title is something that you fundamentally need if you're going to have multiple streams of media coming into play, events occurring that must be synchronized with the media, the animation and the video and the sound as it's playing. Unless you've got a stable title time, it's very difficult to synchronize and have all these things happen at the right time. One of the things that really sets ScriptX apart is a capability we call dynamic composition.
The great thing about dynamic composition is that you can add objects to an application while it's running.
Hey, it really works.
This opens up new marketing opportunities for incremental updates and clip object additions to titles.
And it's just that easy.
All these objects can be distributed over the internet as well as conventionally.
Today's titles are really kind of designed around the tool that's used. So the tool has a single metaphor, and the title mimics that single metaphor.
If I wanted to do a multimedia application, say something like a guide to the orchestra, and I used one of the conventional metaphor-specific multimedia authoring tools available, the result would probably look something like this. It's conventional. It's a single metaphor title. There's a piece of artwork for each instrument, and there's a button that you can press in order to be able to hear a sound. Not bad, not revolutionary.
What we're aiming for is a world where multimedia content and experiences are more like the real world, where you create space, where you create a situation. We want the user to be at the center of attention in the title, just like the conductor in an orchestra.
Now, let's try a ScriptX approach. The first thing I'm going to do is make instrument objects. Everything in ScriptX is an object. Cards, stacks, backgrounds, clocks, players, virtual spaces, everything. But rather than have to make every single instrument individually, I can group together the things that the various instruments share in terms of behavior and state. And I can use that to make each instrument class. For example, I could make a generic string instrument. Now, when I need to make a violin, I only have to describe how the violin is different from the generic string instrument. Let me show you. And there it is. When I come to make a cello, exactly the same thing. Et voilà. Okay, I've created a complete set of instrument objects, and I decided to put those into a card and stack metaphor. I've also created a set of score objects, and I've placed those into a timeline style metaphor. Now I want to hear my instruments play, so I'll drag an instrument off of the card and stack and into a virtual space, my stage. I'll also drag a score onto the same stage so I can hear my instrument play. Multiple metaphor multimedia. It's great. It's got a great beat. You can dance to it. I give it a 95. So why does this work? It works because objects are self-contained. That's exactly what an object is. It's a container of state and behavior. Objects know stuff and they do stuff. But I think I can improve this title. I think there's a way I could even extend it.
Hey, Randy, try this. It's a clip object from another application. It's a world map that will show the location of objects that know their latitude and longitude.
Thanks, John. Since my objects know where they are invented, I can use this in my title. If I want to know more about one of my instrument objects, now I can just drag it to the map icon, and it'll show me where it was invented. Since ScriptX objects can be smart about context, the map object and the instrument objects can communicate in order to do the right thing. After the success of my first title, the marketplace was clamoring for more, so I decided to do a guide to bebop. How do I take advantage of this market opportunity? I was able to reuse many of the objects from the first title, so I hit the shelves right on time. Even though they look different, their presentations are different. Both the orchestra title and the jazz title use the same underlying model, the same deep structure. I was able to reuse that in both titles. I also incorporated the tool that I use to build the instrument objects so that my users can be as creative using the title as I was in building it. Saxophone or violphone?
We want to be out in front with products that support the Kaleida technologies and make use of it, in fact, to make us successful.
The first step is to complete the base enabling efforts around ScriptX and KMP, get them incorporated into our tools, work with third-party providers that have knowledge in specific industries and applications to start to get content to appear.
Once we get the platform established, and we get the performance levels very high, and we begin to establish some titles, then both, I think, Apple and IBM are planning to bundle the Kaleida Media Player on, make it a key part of their operating system, as well as evangelize the use of it on other operating systems and other user environments.
ScriptX is real now in version 1 and has all the basic capabilities that are talked about in object-oriented environments today. It's ready now. It's here.
This new Kaleida Media Player and ScriptX platform are very liberating to us as developers. And that's very helpful to me from a management perspective in terms of seeing our assets, our very limited assets, best exploited and best extended.
It made far more sense to us to start early on with a foundation that perhaps is a bit lower on the food chain in terms of usability, but that would give us the most solid standing on which to build our product line. And if you think about the economies of scale, what makes more sense? To be constantly searching for a new authoring environment for each new product that has a different set of demands, or to be building a robust product line around one software standard?
If we can bring that value to this industry, to the people who are most important in creating the answer, the multimedia developers, we're going to set the world on fire.
And it's just that easy.
For more information about our products or to become a member of our worldwide developer program, please contact us at Kaleida Labs.